Here's Fred Zimmerman with another tip from a pro, part of Christmas light contractors and Christmas light installers. We're going to teach you how to hang some holiday lights on your home for either commercially or residentially. And here's your tip from a pro.
Hi, I'm Caitlin with Christmas light installers, Christmas light contractors, and I'm going to be talking about some big no-nos of Christmas light installation. All right, so we have our power to the roof line run right now, and you can see that we have our cord kind of going to our timer, and it looks like a hot mess. So that's a big no-no. Always keep your cords nice and coiled, because you have to remember, people are paying you to do their lights. They're expecting a professional installation and things to look nice and neat. So what I like to do is I like to move all the slack to a non-conspicuous spot, usually maybe in the lower mulch line. And I'll have the cord tight against the wall or the side of the house, and I just simply coil it up. And I like to use just electrical tape, just to keep the coil nice and tight. Just go around it one time, maybe. And then you can just hide it right down the downspout. So you can see it looks a lot neater than it did before. Another big no-no is never use orange or bright extension cords along the downspouts. As you can see right here, we have a white downspout, and if you zoom up and if you look up top, you see that we have a white extension cord, and it just looks really nice and clean. Kind of camouflages in with the house. If you have a bright orange one, it just kind of takes away from the aesthetics. You know, we don't typically have orange extension cords. Usually we have either green or cream or white. And so we always use the white or the cream ones along the downspouts and the green ones along grass and mulch line. Another big no-no is installing your lights without having power connected to them. So the very first step in installing roof lights or any type of lights is running your power and having them connected as you install. As you can see, we use enclosed clips here on our roof lights, and sometimes when you put the enclosed clip on, the light bulb might not turn on if it's not screwed in all the way. And so if you have the power run as you're doing the installation, you're easily going to find the lights that need to be screwed in tighter. It's just an easy fix, and it's a lot easier to do it while you're doing the install instead of waiting till the very end and having to move your ladders around again. So another big no-no is do not install your mini lights without having power run to them first. So a lot of times we'll test our lights before we do any of the installation, but that does take a lot of time. And so what I think is easiest is just test them as you go. So right now we're just doing these little trees spiraled, and sometimes the lights will work, but you'll find just different things, like the female end might not transport power to the next strand or different issues. So I've got a strand here I'm going to connect, and I always like to kind of cross them over and connect them like a loose knot. Now you might notice this strand works, but we've been installing lights for over 10 years, and occasionally we have bought different brands, and this is one of the different brands, and it has a slightly different color. So if I had tested all of these beforehand and just put them all up, I might not have noticed. I might have put two different colors on the tree. So that's why it's really important, just have power run as you go, and you can avoid different issues like connections not being made, or even strands going halfway out and flickering. So there you go. All right, so another big no-no is never run extension cords just straight across the driveway. So over here we have the house on one side, and we're doing a set of 4 trees along this very long driveway. And so we have a power cord here temporary so that we can run power while we're doing the trees. But what's ideal is not to have any extension cords on any type of a walkway or driveway where cars are going to be going. So what we're going to do is we're going to run power all the way from the back of the house and go all the way along this grass. So that's going to use a lot of extension cords, but it's going to keep the job looking nice and clean and neat and safe. And so there are occasions when you won't be able to do that, where maybe you have like a circle drive and an island that doesn't have any power, and you can use driveway protectors for that. But if you can avoid having cords across the driveway, that is ideal. All right, here's another no-no, and this may seem like common sense, but unfortunately I have seen installers do it before. Now, if you remember my previous tip, it was always to have power run to your tree while you're doing it. But sometimes with pine trees and bigger trees, we start it from the top and you're just not able to run power to it, and you really just need to test your lights beforehand. But for, I'll show you on a bush like this, never start a tree with your male end at the top. If you start your tree with the male end at the top, you have to figure out how you're going to get power to that tree. And so most likely you're going to have to take your tree down and redo it. So the correct way is to always start with the female at the top. For a smaller tree like this or a bush like this, I'm just going to start it from the bottom, have my power run, and just see as I'm going. All right, another no-no is never run lights through empty space to try and connect 2 bushes. That just looks very sloppy and unprofessional. So this homeowner wants their boxwoods and their rose bushes lit up. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use a jumper cable just to connect my boxwoods to my rose bushes. It'll be nice. It's a black jumper cable that will blend in with the mulch, and it will give it a nice, clean, tidy look. So I'm going to connect my male end of my jumper right into the female end of my strand. I'm going to just go right down there, and you can kind of tuck it in. And I'm going to start my second strand. Now sometimes bushes will be close enough together that you can just connect them and give it a continuous look. All right, another big no-no is not checking your vampire plugs before you attach them to your wire. Now, if you notice, here I've got a male end vampire plug, and you'll notice that the prongs are opposite of each other. Occasionally, you'll have like a manufacturer defect that'll have the prongs on the same side. If that happens, it could create sparks and cause you a lot of problems. So always make sure that you check your vampire plugs before you attach them to your socket. All right, another tip, which seems like common sense, but unfortunately it not always is never attach two male plugs to the same socket. If you do this, you're in for a shock, literally. My last no-no is if you are testing your lights and your clips, is never do the hammer test while the lights are plugged in.
But let's say now you got a big hailstorm coming and Father Time, go! Whoa, that shocked me.